Good morning. I'm back. You guys, I've missed you. I've actually missed you. Not that I shouldn't not actually miss you, but I say actually because I was a little bit surprised. I thought I had put myself into like a pigeonhole here of being like, oh my gosh, I have to show up all the time. Good morning, everyone coming in. So good to see you. And yet when I didn't have access to it, which was last week when I didn't have a Peloton or my ring light or my secondary phone for Clubhouse recording, I was thinking, I'm missing everyone. And this is intentional, and this is good, and this is life-giving. And I've gotten so much feedback from people the first week that we did it that I think there was that component, not of the dopamine hit, right? A lot of people will say that they're posting or they're doing something socially or out for other people to do because they want the likes or the follows. Well, if you've been a part of the room, you know that this is an intimate crew, and that intimacy actually breeds, to me, more community, and community breeds conversation, and conversation breeds goodness when associated to the foundation of how I like to share. Who I'm sharing on behalf. Big guy up top, right? So I'm going to talk to you guys this morning. I'm starting a couple of new books, and I say a couple. Who does that? Me. If you know anything about me, you know that I love to read. I have at any given time probably 4 audiobooks that are cycling through just based on whose voice I want to hear, and I have 2 or 3 that I'm reading in hand, of course associated to the Bible too. But this is the gamut of books, right? And I think this is really important for you guys to understand that I really do believe in how I fuel myself. I believe in how you fuel yourself. And it's the understanding that if you're not fueling yourself with information that is valuable, that is worthy of you spending time on, you will actually hurt the outcomes of your day, the outcomes of your mental self, the outcomes of every component of the input. Do you understand? Input, output, input, output, input, output. It's a circle, it's a cycle. And if you don't recognize that, if the input is media, we talked about this on the first week, if the input is negativity or politics or music that doesn't have a soothing, soulful interaction to your heart and to your desire, you will inhibit yourself from reaching the goals. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people forget, especially into the new year, right? I don't know about you, but I didn't set resolutions. I sat down with my hubby a while back and we just conversated while driving through St. John's incredible island, up and down, and we went on a little bit of a day date. And I said, tell me what next year looks like to you. Tell me what you see. And that part of the conversation, which I didn't know I was going to share with you this morning, this is why I love Peloton and Preach, because y'all are all up in my space and all up in my head. It's talking about seeing. And so the new book, there's 2. I started both of them this morning. One, which is The School of Seers. The School of Seers by Jonathan Welton. And it's a practical guide on how to see in the unseen realm. Met with a different kind of book by Tom Ziegler called Choose to Win. Transform your life one simple choice at a time. Now, when I saw that one on the shelf, it wasn't in the airport where all the books traditionally are that I pick up. I love to go there, by the way. Every single time I walk into an airport, I go to the bookshelf. One, because I'm seeing what will become, having my name on those magazines, having my book on that category list, right? And though we've hit bestseller, going up on the Peloton. Here we go. We hit bestseller in 2 books last year. We didn't hit the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal ones. And I'm telling you this, not because it's a goal, even though it is, not because it's something I see will happen, but it will, but because there are unseen things in that area. It's the grit behind the process. It's the movement towards the goal that is so critical for you guys to understand what happens on the other side of those experiences. And so this book was actually on one of the spinners alongside Bibles and Christian reading, which I love, by the way, that we get our own wheel. We get our own setup. Have you ever noticed that? And I say we, because it's you too. God gets the glory in the media, in the airport, where there are so many people going in and out. I don't know who made that decision. I don't know how it's maintained in that space. But boy, God is good. He is set apart. You are set apart. You're set apart, they say, for such a time as this. Oh man, am I believing that for you? Am I believing that right now, this season, this day even, that you're being set apart to be different, to see with unseen eyes, to act with clear association by the who that has created you. Your actions speak louder than words, they say. How about this? Actions are your words. Words become your action, right? Actions are your words. Words become your actions. Maybe it does to you. I don't have to commit because I don't have to put on a calendar a responsibility or an obligation or a time block. Why? Because I have a yearning. I have a yearning to show up uniquely. And I told you out the gate that I missed you. So why would I not come? Why would I not do that thing? This is the Are you willing to put the work in? Are you willing to show up when no one else does? Are you willing to be an example when no one else has exampled it for you? Now, let me just speak to that really quick, because I do have lots of examples of greatness. I do have lots of examples of commitment. I do have lots of examples of people who are saying yes and following through, which I think is so critical. But these two books, Choose to Win, and I just started it, so I can't even remember the name of it. The School of Seers. Seers, S-E-E-R-S. I'm going to dissect that word with you, for you, as I read through this book, but I want to talk about the conference that I just went to and what my mindset was when I was there, seeing what I was seeing. It goes back down to the start of this book, Choose to Win, by Tom Ziglar, Zig Ziglar's son, who, if you don't know Zig Ziglar, you've probably heard his quotes over and over again, but never realized that they were his. It's kind of the methodology, the conversation that's been circling the self-help world for a while, associated to God. He is a believer. I love that about their industry. I love that they're not afraid to be in the middle, in the intersection of those mountains that we've been talking about, right? Are you comfortable? Or are you uncomfortable? Comfort is complacency. Comfort is where things die. Comfort is where, when the season changes, you're so comfortable, you forget you have to change too. Y'all, the instructor that I chose on Peloton today, I don't know her name, but she's currently swinging a towel. I think I need to add to my Peloton and Preach a swinging towel situation. and I'll just speak the name of Jesus over you, and I can't breathe so I can catch my breath. But she is dancing. Little different than I would probably be doing. But why I'm telling you this is 3 things. Trinity of Transformation, which is associated to choose to win, is talking about desire, hope, and grit. Desire, hope, and grit. What does that mean? Desire is what you want. Desire is where you want to go. You have an opportunity to see. Maybe you see it through other people, or maybe it's just something deep in your spirit. Hope is part of the action. Hope will actually put you into the receipt of desire. And grit is the doing. Grit is the movement towards, in the process of maintaining desire, maintaining your sight, having hope associated to it, and then acting it out, moving towards the goal, moving towards the dream, moving towards the desire. I actually love this so much more than New Year's resolutions, because everyone wants something. Everyone desires something, right? And if you don't, let's have a private conversation, because I'd love to extract that for you. It's something that I think God has given me uniquely, is the ability to extract greatness and to see when no one else can see, to create vision for someone's life. It's the purpose activation, right? Sometimes you do have to borrow someone else's belief. Sometimes you do have to borrow somebody else's eyes. And that is the intersection point to choose to win, and the book that I started, The School of the Seers, this morning. Because the very intro is from the wife of the author, and they were meeting at a young youth group experience, and they were worshiping together, and the author decided to tell his now bride, his girlfriend at the time, or maybe even just friend, I'm not sure, what he was seeing in the spirit realm. Let me say that again. He was telling her while worshiping what he was seeing in the spirit realm. This might feel odd. This might feel strange. This might feel uncommon to the conversation that your church is having around worship, around warfare, even around the word. And I want to be with you as we explore. I want to unpack it with you. And I want you to be able to borrow my eyes so you can believe with me, so you can develop a new sense of desire, so you can hope bigger, so you can activate with grit. Y'all, it takes grit to sit on a Peloton, to share a message, to breathe through. For those of you on Clubhouse listening who can't see me, but you hear me panting, I am doing this for you, but I'm also doing this for me. Because what I see in the spirit realm, what God has gifted me to see, is stages with a lot of people. Our conversations with a lot more people than what I currently see live with me right now. And yet, I have the opportunity to show up just as big for this audience as I do for them, for the unknown, for the names I've yet to meet, for the people I've yet to see, for the conversations I've yet to have, for the places I've not yet gone. Because in my spirit realm, in my heart, in my actual dreams and my figurative dreams, in my vision, a part of my purpose is to go and tell, go and create, go and share the good news. And maybe this isn't a part of your vision yet, but as we go through this book and we continue through this exploration, I want you to know that it is your calling. It is your desire. It's why you breathe. It's why when you have a conversation with a stranger and you're affirming that person, you feel good inside. You feel qualified inside. You feel purposed inside. The inside vision, the things you can't see, the things you hope for, they're associated to God. They don't come from thin air. They don't come from a book you're reading. They don't come from somebody else's journey or comparison. It's an inside out desire for a reason. And he planted that for you and only you. No matter what parallel there is to anybody else that you see. So while Jonathan worshiped, he started to explore by speaking out what he was seeing. And I'm going to do that for you based on the conference that I went to this past week. I'm going to share what I was seeing. And it's a bold move. It's a move that a lot of people don't do because it's vulnerable. The what ifs on the other side. But I think it's critical to be honest. I think it's critical to document the exploration and share with other people so they too can access that seeing, access that knowing, and they can borrow it when they need to. And so if we talk through the Trinity of Transformation by Tom Ziegler, desire, hope. What's the third one? Who can do it? What's up, Nate? I'm supposed to be up right now. Who can do it? Outcome is what I'm calling it, but I know that that's not right. Let's go back. Donde está? Not goals, it's dang goals. Grit. Of course it's grit. Of course it's grit. Desire, hope, grit. I think it's seers. I think it's seers. But seers sounds so fierce, right? I want to be a seer. So Jonathan sat there and what he saw in worship was the spirit realm. What does this mean? He saw angels. He saw them warring in the spirit with them. He saw them crying out to God and worshiping alongside them. He saw them praying and spiraling the room. He saw them sitting next to their gifts and talents. And yet people are so fixated on what that looks like that they're unable to actually operate in the spirit realm because of the constriction of the church. And you hear me talk a lot about church. You hear me talk a lot about the church. And I don't say it towards man. I don't say it towards the body. I don't say it towards the box. Because I'm not inside every church. And he sat there and he saw that boxed church worship. The walls were broken down because the spirit realm existed. They can walk through walls. They can come in and be a part of the congregation. And the part that stood out to me the most, which I think is so beautiful, is the fact that when worship was over, he would see the angels crying in the corner. He would see them crying in the corner, not weeping. What could have been breakthrough. I'm still alive. I had to switch off my Wi-Fi. It kept saying my internet was not working. For those of you in Clubhouse, let me just bring this full circle. Yes, I sound like I'm dying. I'm not. I'm still moving. I'm still going. I'm on a Peloton right now, doing what I love to call Peloton and Preach. And I'm sharing with those on IGTV about the 2 books that I'm reading right now. I just opened them up this morning. The creases are brand new in the bind. There's nothing better than that. And it's a parallel between what most people would see as secular and what most people will see as spirit. One is by Tom Ziglar, Choose to Win. He is the CEO of the Zig Ziglar Foundation or Corporation. And the other is by a pastor by the name of his name is Jonathan Welton, the School of the Seers, a practical guide to see in the unseen realm. And I'm talking about a worship experience where he saw angels. So I'm at this conference, and how does all this parallels right here? I'm at this conference with 200 plus women, handful of guys, literally like 2, I think, maybe 3. And I'm processing. I'm sitting on the sidelines and I'm processing. And if I was to go through the Trinity Transformation and create my own, which I love to do, you guys know that, and I love words, I shifted it from desire, hope, and grit to intention, integrity, and interaction. Intention, integrity, and interaction. Now, how does that work together? Intention is the desire. What do you intend to be the outcome? Desire might be prompted in your spirit, but intention has movement. I intend to. Not I will try, not one day, but right now, in the moment, in the spirit even, I intend to act. I intend to move closer to. I used an analogy with David Meltzer yesterday. If you guys know him, he's an incredible human who's pursuing sharing happiness with over 1 billion people. I said 1 billion people, and he said, don't limit me. It's over 1 billion. His intention is grandiose. And the analogy that I used was jumping out of an airplane, saying, I will do this, but this isn't what I'm saying right yet. And he prompted how I said I will instead of I will try. And the variation to him says, when I do, I have done. And he said it in different ways, but ultimately he was like, yeah, I've already jumped out of an airplane, and I'll do it again today. If that's what my intentions are, if that's what my desire is, I will make it happen. And so then there's hope connected to integrity. So Tom Ziglar says the second step is hope in transformation. And my second step is integrity because I've lived a life outside of it. You know, that feeling when you've done something that is out of alignment, when you've done something that isn't connected in your spirit, when you've watched something that isn't connected to goodness, that doesn't create joy, but sustains stagnation, sustains problem-oriented vision. Do you understand that? That's truly what is happening on a consistent basis. People are giving vision, but they're showing you roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. They're talking about all the problems out loud. Why don't we talk about solutions? Why don't we move people not just to hope, not just to hoping and wishing and praying? Because to me, while hope is magnificent, and I hope a lot of things, integrity is connected to action. Integrity moves you from hope into action. So you go from this place of intention, I see it, I will, I'm moving towards it, and then what you said will be because your integrity is connected to your alignment to God, because it's not about what they say if you do or don't do something, but the social contracts that I speak to when you show up and you're sharing the word that's been put on your heart. The word might be teach, the word might be speak, the word might be share, the word might be create happiness, the word might be joy, the word might be nonprofit, the word might be travel, the word might be a lot of different things. I don't know your word, I don't know your mission, and I don't know your intention, but I do know your integrity is connected. And lastly, it's connected to interaction. This is what I was seeing transpire at this conference, a lot of interaction. An intention was set to bring people together. Integrity was met because they did it. And then interaction was what happened on the offset. When they got there, there was more. I think that's what we forget a lot when people set goals. I set a goal to complete my book, to bring it to life and to make it a bestseller. I did that thing, but guess what? When I did that thing, if I stopped right there, check, I've stopped at the second step and I've forgotten interaction altogether. Because I can't just create and do and feel a sense of completion in my own spirit and yet inhibit what that means to the rest of the world. What does that mean to everyone else who comes into connection with my integrity? Who comes into connection with your dream coming true? The interactions that transpire next are the most important part. This would be like God himself doing the thing, coming to save the world, sending his son to do such a job. His intention was to blanket humanity with a clean slate. His intention was to set an example of a life well lived as a human in perfection. Not that we should pursue perfectionism, but that we should pursue the perfect one who blankets us in that ability, who gives us strength, who gives us discernment, all of the other fruits of the Spirit, right? But if he did just those two things, his intention was met, his integrity, his word was connected to what he actually did. But if he stopped there, if the interaction ended when Jesus descended, the interaction, the ascent, the relationship wouldn't actually have ever occurred. When he sent his son, the very next step, the thing that happened when he was here was the interaction that now speaks to our soul, creates a whole New Testament to the Bible, and allows us to then stand in our own intent based on his. And so I sat at this conference and I watched these things unfold. I watched seeds of desire be implanted. I saw hope arise. And I saw even in the moment with some people, whether they were speaking or sitting in the audience, the final piece, the grit that it took to get there. And there are so many pieces to the puzzle because there was 200 plus people experiencing some point of their transformation. And yet I felt like the room was missing the seeing. This is nothing against the conference host. This is nothing against the conference attendees. It was just what my spirit was saying. It was just what God was whispering to me in the wee hours of the morning before I got to share devotional with the women of the house that I went with, 20 women, to get to 200. And the seeing was that there was angels in the corner crying. Whew. I never want my lack of intention or my integrity to interfere with someone else's interaction. And that is why you can stand in silence. That is why you can stand in the spirit realm and you can pray on behalf of what is transpiring in any room, any situation, any conversation, any media output, any governmental message, any educational situation. You have power, my friend. You have power to see. And because of that, you have the integrity to act. And when you step out of alignment with that integrity, you will feel the pit of your stomach. You will feel discernment shift. Your intuition will prompt you to a new heightened level of awareness of what you should be doing. I could have been praying over more people. I could have been going up to the people that I needed to speak to, that I saw an angel army around. I did that with some people, and I'm grateful to say that the outcome of those conversations has been blissfully beautiful and connected. And while I feel like I did the justice of the house that I stayed in and the women that I intimately saw and was able to worship and pray with and over, I checked that box. But there's some times where there's more to be done. And the interaction component of your goal, of your resolution, of your desire, of your intent is not fully met, and therefore there is work to be done. There's more work to be done. The Trinity of Transformation, connected to what I need to name, this intention, integrity, interaction model, they all parallel to the greatest opportunity, the greatest plan ever written, the greatest story ever told. Go and make disciples of all nations. That is a part of your mission. That is connected to your desire. And whether you've spoken it out loud or not, or whether you know what that means or not, or whether you've ever seen it in your fleshly eye or not, I am speaking this life over you right now. That every gift and talent you have, that every desire that's been deposited in your heart, every opportunity to see something in your future and move towards it should be parallel to this. So that at the end of the day, when you put your head to rest, when you put your head on the pillow, when you say your prayers, when you speak your gratitude, and you pray into that sleep or that next day, you have a sense of knowing and a sense of peace that even just today, He'd speak over you, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." Well done. Today's Peloton and Preach is brought to you by Tamra Andress on her Peloton, in her garage, on Clubhouse and IGTV. Oh man, so much fun. Let me pray over you guys, because that's the best way to close, not an infomercial. God, we just thank you. We just praise your name. We thank you for the opportunity that other people, when they see, they share. Even if it's not what you had hoped for, even if it's angels crying in the corner, God, that what they see, they share with intent to move us into intention, integrity, and interaction with more souls, interaction perhaps even in the spirit realm that we're still exploring, that the church sometimes segregates, that the church sometimes says is not enough or not real or darkness. God, they just don't know. They just don't see. And so I ask that eyes be opened. I ask that scales be removed. I ask that cords be untethered from people's limiting beliefs around what is and what isn't, what's possible and what is not. God, that you are a God of possibility, that you are a God of provision, that you are a God of prosperity, that everything you've said has already come true, and everything you're seeing will manifest itself here on earth as it is in heaven, and we trust you with that. We lean on our God. We lean on your understanding. We lean not in what we see with our eyes, God, but in the hope, in the faith, in the truth. And I ask that these men and women listening today, they would just armor up, God. They would armor up for what they're going to face when they see something more, when they see the spirit realm. And the example of Elijah and Elisha and how he went out to fight God, and he questioned the impossibility. He saw with his own eyes originally that they didn't have enough people. There wasn't enough army to fight the enemy who had so many more. And when the prayer to see was spoken over him and his eyes were open to something new in the spirit realm, he saw armies and armies and armies of horses and men ready to fight. They were on fire, literally fire, a fury of army connected to the flesh This is the spirit realm. This is how we operate every single day. And so when we think with our own flesh that we are the only one set out with this desire, set out with this hope, set out with this intention, set out with the opportunity to transform, God, there is more. The strength in which we rely is from you. The endurance in which we rely is from you. God, we give it to you. We surrender our bodies. We surrender our understanding of what limited space we can see in, what limited time we understand, God, that you're an eternal God. And this time here on earth is just an experience in the flesh, God, but there is more. There is a spirit life. There is an eternal salvation on the other side for us. And yet we can experience that life right here, right now. God, I pray for people who are confused. I pray for people who are listening, who have no idea what I'm talking about, who have never heard of this spirit realm concept, who have never thought about their goals or resolutions as something connected to eternity, something connected to your great big plan. God, that they seek out their purpose, and yet we should be seeking out yours. What are you purposed for us to do? And how can we play a part, not just with what we see, but in the unknown? God, I pray for these people who are just yearning to see more, yearning to dream bigger, yearning to activate on a massive magnitude of a level they can't comprehend. That when they look out over the dozens, hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, the seas, the nations, the places you'd have them go, God, that they don't feel inhibited, that they don't feel shackled, that they know that it is by you and through you, that you make all things good, all things new, all things possible. So we surrender our personal will. We surrender our personal understanding. We surrender our previous interaction with you, God. We ask for more. We pray circles of greatness. We pray circles of magnitude over the territory in which you occupy, that you ask us to go into. You've already been there. It's not a new path. It's not new territory. It's not something that's never been done. Everything is yours. We trust you. We stand in confidence alongside you and behind you. And we just watch you. We watch you move, God. You watch you open the doors and how easily it is for us to walk into without fear, without comparison, without imposter syndrome, without perfectionism. God, we stand in the pursuit of you, the perfect one, God. And therefore we progress and we digress. And we progress and we digress, God. We lay ego to the side and we stand fully surrendered. We love you. We shout your name. We show up in situations and we activate. We see with bigger vision what could transpire. We pray over the souls connected to outcomes that don't fully give the key to the unlock. God, there's greater opportunity for people to step into relationship with you, God. And I just pray right now in your sweet name that I am a relationship sealer, that I have the ability to bring people into a closer knowing with you, God, that I just almost position them. I get up from the table sitting next to you. I open and pull open the seat for them. And I say, sit down. I've prepared a meal for you. A meal that never ends. A meal that has such nutrition and succulence and sustenance that they've never tasted. And all they want to do is see. I love you. We love you. We thank you for this beautiful day, for our health and our well-being. And we give it back to you as you've given it to us. Thanks for everyone hanging out today. It's always a blessing. It's always so fun. It's one of my favorite ways to start the day. And I just pray that it blessed you somehow, some way. And if you have anything that you want to share, any reviews perhaps, or just feedback, I'd love to hear from you. If you're on Clubhouse, I'd love to know. Send me a message if it's like super distracting that I'm breathing heavy since I'm on the Peloton the whole time. Or if you love it and it inspires you to get moving yourself, maybe you go for a run while I'm running and panting in your ear. Whatever it be, you're loved, you're seen, you're appreciated. And I just pray for more for all of you. Love you. Love you, Kelly. Thanks for being here, girlfriend.